Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Strategy, Leadership, and Impact. I hope you've been well since the last time you tuned in. Don't have a lot of updates for you today. Just mention what I've already mentioned a couple weeks ago, and that's the launch of my new book coming out, The Leader You Are. And I'll probably do a whole episode just around the content of that book and what it's all about, just to give you a heads up. I'm looking at doing a book launch for it right now, mid-October, so potentially the week of the 13th or the week of the 20th of October. But what I'm really excited about isn't just my third book, it's what else I'm going to be announcing at that time too, what I'm going to be launching. And it's something that I think is going to be really great. It's going to bring together the content of all three of my books, as well as everything I've been sharing on the podcast, as well as many, many other things, and a massive expansion around my leadership development offerings that I've been doing, and just another mechanism or avenue that people can go down in order to improve as leaders. And again, just trying to be the best leader that we can. So I'm very excited about that. Can't wait to share more with you about it once we get closer to the date. But there will be a launch of something very special coming up again mid-October, which sounds like it's very far away, but here we are, middle of July 2025, and October's not that far away, so I can't wait to get there, but I'm sure it's going to be here before we know it. And without further ado, though, I'll get into this week's topic. And I know that the last two episodes that I've done, I've mentioned the phrase psychological safety. And I've done a previous episode on psychological safety, but that was more around the new psychological safety legislation that's been enacted here in Australia, taken into effect or gone into effect here in Australia, and what that means for the workplace. But I wanted to dig into psychological safety just a bit more. That's because it's getting more and more attention in boardrooms and workplaces right across Australia, but also around the world. I Googled psychological safety legislation, and worldwide, there's a number of countries and regions that are implementing different things. So in this episode, what I want to talk about is what psychological safety is and why it matters, how it can be misunderstood or even misused. I've seen this happen already. But most importantly is how leaders, that's us, can create genuinely safe and high-performing cultures without compromising on things like accountability, growth, or having that honest and open dialogue with our team, and not being afraid to do that because we think it might feel unsafe. And we'll talk about what the feeling unsafe actually is. So we'll start off with a definition. I like a good definition. So what is psychological safety? And psychological safety, it's the belief that you can speak up or ask for help, express concerns, or admit mistakes, or that you don't know something without fear. And this is without the fear of things like being humiliated, being punished, or being afraid that something's going to damage your career and your trajectory of wherever you're going. And psychological safety, it's the foundation of trust, learning, and innovation. So the term psychological safety, of course, it gained traction thanks to the research of a lady by the name of Amy Edmondson. So she's a researcher, I believe, at Harvard Business School. And it was amplified even further by Google's Project Aristotle, which found that psychological safety, not compensation or education levels or levels of experience, but psychological safety was the top predictor of team performance. So let that sink in. And in practice, psychological safety means that people, they feel safe to offer new ideas, to raise issues, to admit failures, and share personal struggles, or even set personal boundaries, particularly in the workplace, and separating that work-life balance, and not just that work-life balance, but separating that work professional life. So, but here's the key. Safety doesn't mean comfort. And that's where some of the confusion starts. And I've seen many people that have gotten safety and comfort mixed up. So how can it be abused or misunderstood? And let's talk about how psychological safety can be misapplied in the organizations. Okay, so in some organizations, psychological safety is misunderstood as everybody must feel good all the time. And that's not realistic. One, we're human. We're not going to feel good all the time. So that's just going to happen. And that conflict is always bad. So they try to get rid of all the conflict within the organization. And Conflict is good, so we got to make sure it's good and productive conflict, um, not unproductive conflict or malicious conflict. And this is dangerous because it can shield underperformance or underperformers, where difficult conversations are avoided in the name of being safe. It can silence dissidents. So when team members with high standards are labeled as toxic or unsafe just for challenging ideas, you go, oh, they're being difficult. No, it's okay. They're probably speaking out for the best interests of the organization. So let's listen to them. What are their ideas? And it can become a weapon too, where individuals can manipulate the concept to avoid accountability and feedback. And this is where I've seen this happen. Just because uh, someone feels discomfort because they're being held accountable doesn't mean it's a psychologically unsafe workplace. And I'll give you an example. So I've seen workplaces where a leader gives clear feedback and suddenly hears, you breach my psychological safety because they've given that feedback. Well, you know what? You didn't do a good job on it, so we told you didn't do a good job, but we're tactful in how we do it. That's okay. That's not being psychologically unsafe. So it's important to distinguish between unfair and unsafe treatment and discomfort that comes from growth, challenge, or honest feedback. Again, we give feedback in a tactful way, so not a nice way necessarily, but a tactful way, and to make sure that we're still holding people accountable. And psychological safety isn't the absence of challenge, it's the presence of mutual respect, even during hard conversations. So again, going back to that respect aspect of things. So how should you as a leader approach this? And I have 5 principles that I'll share with you that can help you approach it. So the first one is set clear standards and expectations. Psychological safety thrives in clarity. So people need to know what's expected of them. That's whether it's their behavior, their performance, their accountability. Once they know what the expectations are, they'll work to those expectations. Number 2 is model vulnerability, not perfection. So share your mistakes, invite feedback, admit when you don't have the answer. That's leadership, not weakness. Number 3, create space for diverse voices. So safety means including, not excluding, disagreement. Encourage debate. So challenge ideas, not people. Don't be afraid to have those difficult conversations. I know there's been times when in meetings when I've been the one that throw the proverbial grenade into in the conversation to disrupt it, to get people talking more around the negative side of things, just to be open. And number 4 is be fair and consistent. So safety erodes when people see double standards. Apply the same rules to everyone, including yourself. And then number 5, balance empathy with accountability. You can be kind but firm, or fair but firm. You can be like that. You know, compassion and performance are not opposites, they're partners. So true psychological safety requires both. And remember that culture is shaped most in moments of tension. How you respond when someone speaks up or makes a mistake or pushes back whenever you're trying to do something, that's when real culture is revealed. And your response to those things are what's going to set the tone of that culture. So don't forget that psychological safety isn't just a buzzword. It's a leadership commitment. It's the courage to create environments where people can thrive, where they can grow and they can contribute without fear and without losing the standards that drive excellence in performance. There's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And as leaders, we must hold the line between safe spaces and soft standards, being open and being honest. And don't forget that. So that firm but fair, that safe and not soft standards. So you need to ask yourself sometimes, does my team feel safe to challenge me? And do they feel equally safe to be challenged by me? So if you can answer both of those in the affirmative, then you probably have a psychologically safe environment. And when you can answer both of those affirmatively too, that's the balance that you're aiming for. So that's probably the gist of psychological safety. And if this episode sparks something for you, share it with your team or share it with me. Remember that leadership isn't about having all the answers. It's about creating space where the best answers can emerge. And that's part of this. That's one of the reasons why after every episode I ask for feedback. I want to know, when have you experienced this? How did you handle it? Did you feel like you handled it appropriate? Did you feel like you learned? Let me know. Send me an email at blakerepine@gmail.com, or look me up on LinkedIn and connect with me through there. Just search my name, Blake Repine. Let me know, how have you developed a psychologically safe culture within your organization, or if you had challenges around this. Anyway, take care. We'll talk again soon.